Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Lisa Endersby. I'm an educational developer in the Teaching Commons at York University in Toronto, Ontario. And I'm so thrilled to have my colleague Sheila McManus with us today. Sheila is going to be sharing their work in using digital tools for ISW and FDW facilitation. So Sheila, I will turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you work, and your ISW, FDW, etc. experience.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate the invitation and this opportunity. So I'm Sheila McManus. I'm a professor in the Department of History and Religion here at the University of Lethbridge. If you're not sure where that is, we're a couple hours south of Calgary. And my ISW experience began in 2011. It was the first year that the teaching center here began offering that program. So I was very lucky. I got to be one of the first 5 people on this campus to take the ISW, and then it resonated with me. So they kind of asked us who would like to, are you interested in becoming a trainer? I'm like, oh, well, yes, I would. So then I became one of the first 5 people to become a trainer here on this campus. And then a few years down the road after that, I suppose I became one of the first 2 people who can offer the TDW here on campus. And I've been heavily involved with the program, obviously, from the beginning. I've sort of played a leadership role in it, I think, really since 2011, because I was such a convert. I converted hard and fast. And I've been lucky enough now to be involved with the team since then. It mattered to us to be able to offer this kind of in-house by academic staff for other academic staff. We thought the peer feedback piece needed that. We thought that the community building potential of it needed that, as well as, our teaching center and is not big enough. The staff certainly couldn't run it. So it's mattered to us to keep that running the whole time. And we're just very lucky that we've been able to make it sort of really sustainable over the years. The size of the FDW team has certainly, waxed and waned over the years, but we've been able to keep it going at least. And our online experience has been limited, but really powerful. So our first completely, and again, we did the first completely online ISW. I think it was the summer of 2021. So we were still, of course, trying to sort out pandemic restrictions and everything else. And the one we offered was actually with graduate students. We decided to try it that summer, specifically offering it to grads and postdocs, because we knew after a year of online teaching, we figured our odds of getting academic staff to sign up for a fully online workshop were not going to be high. But we'd been offering grad student ones for years, and they were always really enthusiastic about it. So we thought, well, we'll just offer it and see. And we got 4 or 5 participants to sign up. So we thought, well, now we need to figure out how to do this. So as many of us were doing at the time, it was just figuring out, trying to get as much training as possible, right? What could we build on after our year of online teaching at that point? So the tool that we have liked the best, that worked, I think, best for us with that first one, and then we used it again last summer when we did our first ever blended FDW workshop, was actually Padlet. In that first workshop we did, like I say, I keep wanting to say maybe summer 2021, we had kind of over-engineered it, as you do when you are stressed and grappling with new tools. So we had, I think we had too many moving parts, and we forgot that, it might have been fine for me at home with parallel desktop screens to have 2 or 3 tools open at once. But we actually heard really clearly from our grad student participants, some of whom were doing this off of, like a small tablet screen, that having to keep too many windows open or tools running at once was difficult for them. So we found that Padlet worked really well, and therefore we brought it in again when we did our blended FDW. And the reason why we've sort of committed now to offering every one of our FDW offerings is going to be blended, because we want to build the capacity for all of our ISW facilitators to be able to offer either a fully online or blended option going forward. We want to just be able to kind of add that to our repertoire and add that to our skills, be able to help our colleagues whose teaching is primarily online or whatever. And I think why we liked Padlet so much, so we've used it we do the agreement, we do goals, we can do parking lot. And then one of my favorite uses of it was, we've done kind of both icebreakers and reflections on it. One of the reflections that we've done here almost from the get-go, and I know it's not unusual, is when we first began in 2011, 2012, we built a collection of postcards. And we often use that as a reflection exercise, usually on kind of like day 3. It's usually our second to last reflection. So we've just had like this big collection of postcards and we kind of spread them all out on a table, and people pick up 1 or 2 and then we kind of play with the prompt, right? And the colleague of mine that so I've co-facilitated with this person a few times now, Wayne Lippa, who's in our chemistry department. He scanned in all of the postcards from this like in-house collection that we had built, and he managed to get them up into Padlet. And we weren't sure how it was going to work on the screen, but it actually turned out okay. People could still browse the cards on screen and like pick on the one that they wanted to expand it. So sort of one of our favorite reflection exercises, the postcards, we could still pull off in Padlet. And it's also, it's simple, it's accessible, right? As we all know, it can be difficult enough to introduce a more complex, online tool for any of us that don't have that background. But we also need to be able to model something that is easy and accessible for our participants, right? We can't sell them on a tool that is so complex they're never going to use it. And we find Padlet, like, it's easy to use. There's kind of a low barrier, to make it accessible. It is very visual and very colorful, which I like, and I think helps make it more engaging. So I think we don't have a ton of experience here yet with our online offerings, but what we've done so far, I think I hope I can speak for the team and say that Padlet, its simplicity, its visual appeal, you can get it up and running on a big screen, on a small screen, like, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a low barrier for entry. So that's really become our favorite tool.
That's exciting, Sheila. Thank you. It makes me think about my early days as an educational developer with all of the trees on the wall as the physical sticky notes that
Right?
I've done.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like that you're talking about how easy and simple it can be to translate some of those things in the things that we do in a sort of a physical face-to-face ISW into an online space. I'm wondering too, have you encountered or do you anticipate any challenges with Padlet using that in your facilitation?
I mean, we haven't run into any yet. We always double check with folks ahead of time, like, can you access it? Can you,
Yeah.
get it up and running for yourself? Can you see and comment on other people's? Can you change the color? Like, if you're working on your goals. And you're absolutely right, because of course it was trying to replicate, and that's not always, I know, a good instinct when you're transitioning from in-person to online teaching, but we were trying to replicate some of that feeling that we get in an ISW. There's even a single classroom here on campus that most of the facilitators prefer. So 90% of the ISWs we've ever run on this campus have been in this one room. We have a specific kind of physical layout. We love playing with, like, it's the sticky notes, it's the big colorful sheets of paper, it's, whatever. So I think, now that you mention it, I think that's really part of why Padlet kind of appealed to us. We were trying to add more of that visual, but that you can interact with it. Your participants can interact. It doesn't need to be funneled through, just the facilitators, right? They can log into it on their own time in between sessions to update and change, you know. So we have not yet, not that I can recall, we have not had any, I think, technical difficulties yet. We haven't had, as far as I can recall, we haven't had a participant say that they couldn't access or that it was too hard to use. It's usually for us, like on day one, or some of the kind of pre-work ahead of time, get into it, start playing with it. We demo it really quickly if need be. And so far, we haven't yet had technical difficulties or a participant who just kind of didn't, couldn't or didn't want to sort of really engage with it. So maybe we've just been lucky, but it's worked well for us so far.
Great. And I like too that idea of visuals, right? Thinking about different ways to share information, to interact with information. There's some universal design for learning in there that we both
Right?
do so much.
Yeah.
So one thing you said, Sheila, as a way to sort of wrap up our conversation, we always think about, this is a resource where other folks may also be interested in using something like Padlet in their ISW. And one thing that resonated with me is when you said, ask in advance if folks can access it, for example, as one piece of maybe advice. Is there any other advice you would give to an ISW or FDW facilitator who's maybe thinking about using Padlet for the first time in an online or face-to-face ISW, something that they should think about before they do it?
I think with any of the tools or strategies or choices you make when you're facilitating, is it like, does it work for you? Does it work for you and your participants? And I don't, both technically, are you comfortable with it? Right? Like if you had told me 6 years ago that I would wind up being one of the people leading these online workshops, et cetera, I wouldn't, if you had told me that in 2019, I would not have believed you.
No.
And that I am now the person saying, don't worry, it's easy, it's fun to use, look, it's colorful. As with any other choice that we make as facilitators, why are you using this? Why would you choose Padlet? What do you want from it? What do you need from it? Can you access it? Are you comfortable with it, right? You can't be up there modeling your own resistance to a tool, right? If something is too complicated, or if it's not actually resonating with you and your co-facilitator, don't pick it, you know? So I think through all of that, back to sort of those earlier points, we like Padlet because it's visual, it's interactive. For us, it has worked well at a fairly low kind of, it's not too difficult, even if people who are kind of concerned about the technology. But I don't think this was something I had to really think through with the move to online is, just as with any other teaching choice, why are you doing it? What do you want out of this? What do you want your participants to get out of it? How are they going to experience it? Do you need this tool for them to have that experience? Is there something else that you would rather play with? And for us, the way we like to do individual participant goals, the way we like to do parking lot, um, like I say, the postcards reflection that we've just kind of been a fan of. And my wonderful co-facilitator just literally spent time, he decided that mattered enough to us that he was going to scan in all of our postcards. And I thought, well, that seems like a lot, but thank you. He was just kind of testing it. This was something that mattered to us. We have found it works well with our participants. It gives them something a little bit like you just get to pick up something colorful when you're tired at the end of day 3 kind of thing. But yeah, I think it always just comes back to, what kind of ISW do you want to run? Who are you and your co-facilitator in that space? What are your goals? What do your participants normally like to do? What do you want them to experience? And with us, with Padlet, we want them to get something comfortable or something colorful, something interactive, where you can move stuff around, you can see and comment on, you can change the day I figured out I could change colors in Padlet, which is like a great moment for me. Because I am the person who comes with like the extra supply of pens in case there aren't enough colors in the room. So for me, I would not enjoy Padlet if I could not customize its visuals and its colors as much as I can. That's just a kind of a me thing. But it's one of the reasons why it works for me. It just comes down to like, how do you like to run your ISW? What do you want your participants to get out of it? And then, pick the tools that work for you accordingly.
And on that, Sheila McManus, 2025. That's wonderful, Sheila. Thank you so much. I think you've given us a lot to think about, and one really important tool that we can use for lots of different purposes in an ISW,
I think so.
FDW, TDW, lots of different spaces. Thank you again, Sheila. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.